Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We are back this time talking about creative messaging and design, the fun part of the direct marketing, right? We're going to show you how to achieve better results through great creative messaging and design. I'm Noemi Hedrick, marketing specialist. This is Bob. Say hi, Bob. And one of the things that you don't need to worry about is taking notes right now. We are going to give you access to download the e-guide at the end of the presentation so you can just sit back, relax, and enjoy what we have to talk about, creative messaging and design. Right, Bob?
That's right. So again, this webinar is about creative messaging and design. So we're going to cover all three of those concepts. Creative concepts are where you can really create differentiation. It's your opportunity to generate, an idea or a theme that's, different and stands out from the crowd. Clear and concise storytelling is a key component of a successful campaign, and great design is where you can really create attention.
Right.
So we're going to start with the creative concepts, right? When we work with our clients on creative concepts, we're working to define the objective. And then really now we're talking about how we want people to feel about what we're putting together, right? So whether it's a product or service, or it's a fundraiser, we're working to really try to elicit a response, and that response sometimes has to be connected to an emotion.
Right.
So
right. And then a lot of times you have a tendency to think that creative is just about images and copy. It's really beyond that. It's what you're trying to evoke out of your audience, right? It's about emotions and connection. So it's quite a bit more once you understand what you're trying to offer and how you're going to reach them and what you're trying to say and who you are targeting. So all of those things come together. But think of creative as much more than just copy and photos.
Yeah, because your concept should be reflecting the audience. Again, as we worked through the other webinars, we talked about strategy and data. We should have a really good understanding of who our audience is, and our creative concepts should be taken into consideration as we kind of move, through this process.
Right.
Again, emotional connection and focusing on one key message. Really, we have to define what the theme is, what the primary message is that we're trying to get across. That has to ripple through everything that's being done.
That's right.
So once you start to develop those creative concepts, you have to start to think about the content, the messaging that needs to be developed. Again, what we work with our clients on is what is that compelling story? A lot of times, that's where people miss the boat. They really just can't effectively, communicate how impactful their product or service is, or their nonprofit, their causes. And so creating this compelling story really needs to get flushed out.
That's right.
So we want to touch again to the audience's pain points or emotional. We want to make that connection, and the content that's being created is where that happens, whether it's in the body of an email or a short social media post or a direct mail piece. We're really, again, trying to really deliver that information in a way that people will be willing to respond to it. And we're always looking to understand why they respond. We're always asking the question, we want this outcome. Why would you respond? Again, your storytelling and your call to actions all have to keep coming back to that primary question.
Right. Sometimes it can be overwhelming, but really just put yourself in the shoes of your target audience, of your customers or consumers. What is it that you want to tell them that's going to make them think about doing business with you? It's how are you going to make life easier for them? So just really think about them instead of what you want to say. Think about what is it that you think they're going to need, and that's going to make it less overwhelming for you.
So again, we're working with our clients on creating simple and clear call to actions. We want it to be very easy for somebody to respond and be very clear about what we're asking them to do. And then as we work on headlines, we're looking to really grab somebody's attention. You just have that short period of time, for that audience to really decide if they want to continue to dig. And headlines are a big part of that equation.
That's right. You want it to be impactful from the get-go.
So now you've got a lot of things worked out and you're ready to kind of move this, into the design process, and
Right.
design is where you can really create differentiation. So
Mhm.
the imagery should break through the clutter, right? We're looking for something that's very visceral that will get
Mhm.
somebody's attention. A lot of
Right.
times the images and the headlines, they need to work together. In many cases, the headlines and the imagery kind of tell the whole story. And if we can catch your attention there, then we know that the audience will go a little deeper into whatever they're looking at with regards to the campaign assets.
That's right. You want that aha moment where they
Mhm.
see the headline with the imagery and they go like, "Oh, I see it. I get it." You want that continuation and that impact that they both go together
Mhm.
for your audience.
And in the design process, a lot of times less is more. A lot of times we find designs where they're trying to pack way too much information,
Right.
and it just gets so busy that it really loses the impact that is being, we're trying to accomplish. So, and take
Right.
chances. Sometimes you need to take some chances and do something, a little bit out of the ordinary.
Right. You do want to take chances and do something out of the ordinary, but you still want to stay connected, right? You
Mhm.
don't want to be so creative that there's a huge disconnect
Absolutely.
between who you are and what you're trying to offer. And so just kind of keep that in mind. You want to take chances and be creative, but just don't be disconnected with your creativity.
Yeah. Don't let the creativity overwhelm the message.
That's right.
So we just gave you a couple samples. We want to give you a couple examples, where we see a lot of
Mhm.
people starting. This is a good design start. But, from our perspective, there's more than one message here, right? So it gets a
Confusing.
little bit confusing.
Right.
There's too many photos, right? And we're not really sure the photos really, support the message.
Mhm.
And there's no real strong, compelling offer. Taking a tour or calling is really not strong enough, to really get the kind of response that I think people are looking for.
That's right. And if you look at this is a great example of how I think the message is lost in their creativity, their idea of creativity. I look at this and I think it's a sign up for a golf lesson or some kind of sports. I'm not getting that it's about the school necessarily. So you're missing an opportunity here.
And a lot of times you just have that brief second to really, get somebody's attention.
Right. They're focusing on the tour, and that's really not creating that connection, that emotional connection that we're talking about. So,
Yeah. So really to take this to another level,
there
we
you go.
kind of played with it a little bit, and now you're seeing a single message, right?
Yep.
Very clear. It's much easier to comprehend what this piece is all about. There's a much stronger call to action. They know right up front that we're asking them to enroll, and we're
Right.
giving them information on the back on how to do that.
Mhm.
The imagery is much cleaner. The text is cleaned up, much simpler to read. It just makes this much more impactful. And from our perspective, this imagery, this elicits more of an emotion. I can more
Right.
relate to this headline and this image in this example than I was able to in the other.
Right. I want my child to go to college, so college can be in the future, and that brings me in, right? That kind of hooks me. And then college is possible if you start preparing for now. That's how they can solve that problem. They're going to be a part of that. But then the tour is secondary. It's how you reach us. It's not
Right.
all about scheduling the tour. It's about how it can change lives, right?
So again, this whole piece elicits a little bit more emotion than the other example that we showed you.
Exactly. So meet Becky. Becky it's probably where you are right now. It's where we've been in the past, where a lot of our customers are. Becky is trying her best. She has good design. She is struggling a little bit with developing a compelling story. And there's a sense of urgency in trying to do better, right? So we are going to help Becky in this path to success with our methodology of good, better, and best.
Yeah, so if you've attended some of our other webinars, we've kind of followed this approach,
Right.
at a good level. Again, Becky's probably very consistent in her
Hmm.
creative. Everything that she's putting out, whether it's social, email, or print, there's some level of consistency to it. But her
Hmm.
call to action maybe is a little bit too simple, and her
Right.
messaging is overly general. So for
Right.
Becky to take that to another level and get
And do
better,
better.
what
Hmm.
we're looking is to create a design that's much more impactful visually, much more
Right.
improved and more concise content.
Hmm.
And that content addresses an audience's needs or emotions. Again, this is true whether you're selling a product or service or
Right.
you're fundraising, for a cause. If we can really, kind of tug at people's heartstrings here and really
Hmm.
get them not only to understand what you're doing, but why you're doing it and how it benefits them,
Hmm.
then that's really a key part of the message development.
That's what
And
we
then,
call in the industry humanizing
all right.
your product, right? This is kind of what allows you to bring it to that next level in
Right.
your relationship with your audience.
And nonprofits do that exceptionally well in humanizing and making that
Yes.
connection to their cause and what they're working on. So
Right.
the call to actions are probably about a lot more clearly defined. And now the
Hmm.
campaign messaging is really focused. There's a theme or messaging that's around one key message.
And I think it's important to make a difference between the message and the call to action, right? If we look back into that example we gave, the message is how we can help your child's future and get them into college by joining us, essentially. Call
Mhm.
to action may be just call us or email us or whatever that may be. So just think of it that way. What is the message you want the
Mhm.
piece to have? And then prioritize your call to action so they do what you're hoping and expecting them to do.
So for Becky really to get to the best level, we're looking to help her, pick imagery and headlines
Hmm.
that alone can convey the message. If we
Right.
can really, have that wow moment, as Noemi said, and
Hmm.
really catch their attention and encourage them to go deeper into the email or deeper into the direct mail piece,
Yeah,
then we know that we have a better chance of getting the results we want.
that's right.
The call to action is compelling, right? And, we've really worked on making sure that we have a strong call to action and that we're repeating it throughout the design, that we just don't kind of hide it in one place, but we're kind of integrating it in design in a couple different areas.
And there's a reason for that, is that you want that reminder, that kind of subtle, this is what we want you to do, this is what we want you to do throughout
Mm-hmm.
the piece without them even realizing.
And then in the best case scenario, the messages and offers are personalized. Again,
Hmm.
if we have a solid strategy, we understand our audience, we have the data to support that, then we can connect with the audience more by personalizing the headlines, the imagery, or even the offer. A lot of times can be
Right.
personalized.
And this is where you have the opportunity. Again, we're talking about best, right? You have the opportunity to segment your audience and have creative that pertains to that specific audience. And you can modify slightly, maybe the messaging, even, or the call to action. But really keep in mind that you're really going to achieve better results if you're able to communicate and convey to the specific audience in a manner that they are going to relate to it.
Mhm.
So keep that in mind. It's a little bit more challenging, and it offers different versions and varieties of creative, more to manage, but you improve your chances for results by going down that
Mhm.
path.
And then again, at this stage, we're really working with our clients to ensure that their campaign assets are tested before they launch the
That's
campaign
right.
and after they launch the campaign.
Right. If if you're developing creative, just pass it around. Get people's feedback. Watch for their reaction. That's gonna help you a lot. But then also with your audience, you may want to test different offers and different messages to see how you can communicate with them best. So the next time you do better and you continue to do better.
Right. And then again, as you roll out your campaign, if you're kind of
Mhm.
tracking those assets and you're capable of personalizing offers or messages, does one call to action outperform another? Does a
Right.
certain type of imagery get a better response than other? All those things are helping you learn how to get the best results you can from your direct mail direct marketing efforts. And then as you go and do your next one or your third one, you just keep refining it down to getting the best results possible.
Right. You should create benchmarks for yourself and then just trying to do better from that each time.
Mm-hmm. So again, as you go down this journey of moving from good to best, focus on one message, one, key message that can be, woven through the entire campaign.
Right.
Work to touch that audience's emotion or solve a problem. Again, if you can really kind of make the connection there, you're going to win. And again, remember, offers are critical, and compelling offers equal response.
Right. You want to be consumer centric every step of the way. Just think about them, and that's going to create that relation between you and them, and they're going to keep coming back to you.
Mm-hmm. So we want to kind of introduce some new ideas to you, because we're using, direct mail as well as email and social media, the digital marketing. We want, to kind of introduce the idea of thinking dimensional. Dimensional printed pieces kind of allow you to tell a bigger story. We know that dimensional pieces have a little bit more staying power than digital pieces do. So if it's really done right, it's going to, stay with that audience for a little while longer while they consider it. And it really kind of anchors the theme of the campaign while you're starting to introduce some of the digital pieces of your campaign to them through email and social media. But we don't want you to just send stuff, right? Whatever you're including in your dimensional piece, whether it's a story or a giveaway, should be connected to the theme, to the message that you're trying to get across.
Right.
And again, we know that it's going to be impactful at hang around longer, and it creates interaction, which is always fun sometimes. And there's like the one piece that you need to really, set yourself apart. So here we have a couple examples for you. So in this first example, the image changes as a mailer. So the audience is interacting with it. You've got to pull a little tab to get a little bit more of the information that you're providing. But again, what you're really trying to do is get their attention and anchor that message. And so interactive pieces like this are really impactful. A pop-up cube, as you open up the dimensional mailing, a little cube pops up. Again, it's interactive. The cube gives you a ton more space from a creative standpoint to tell a bigger story. And because people are short of time, we can even deliver videos through mailers. That once the card's opened up, there's a little video that plays. Again, all these are dimensional options that are available to you that are really going to kind of add to the impact that your campaign is making with the audience that you're trying to influence.
And the experience that you're proposing as well. So as Bob mentioned, all of these pieces, they allow you to just allow your audience to spend more time with you, with your brand, essentially. So it is an investment. They do have a tendency to cost a little bit more. So maybe you don't send these dimensional pieces to the entire audience that you have, to your entire database. You can be more selective to who you choose to send those to, as maybe your best potential customers. So just keep that in mind. It's definitely doable. There's ways to kind of plan around using each one of these pieces.
And this is where you really can add a lot more fun to your campaign. So.
Right. People are going to pass them around. They're going to show other people and say, look how cool. And again, this is all just brand awareness, right? It's the kind of sharing your brand with everyone because they're just fun and different. So here are some bonus tips. You want to limit yourself to just one key message. Just have that be the center of the communication. It's going to make it that much more impactful. Compelling offers, strong call to actions. You want to use words such as free and new. You see them everywhere, and there's a reason. It's because they do work. And create a sense of urgency. Have maybe an expiration date or a time frame. We hope to hear from you in the next 2 weeks, or whatever that may be. That allows you to kind of get a response in a timely manner as well. And don't forget to test your pieces as much as you can. All of this is just going to help you create a much more impactful campaign. And then also we talked about the kind of the special pieces, interactive pieces. In the digital world, those are the videos, those are the interactive digital ads that you have. So there's ways to kind of have that interaction in the digital world as well as the print world.
Traditional print world, yeah.
That's right. So this is it. We talked about giving you access to the e-guide, where you can download and have all of this information and more. Just go to betterresultsforyou.com and enjoy all of the information that is available to you.
So we want to thank you for spending some time with us today. Again, we're having a lot of fun as we go through this, series and talk about the different components to successful direct marketing. Look for us at our next webinar where we talk about distribution channels and talk about the options that are available in print, email, social, digital ads, that all kind of are the decisions that you need to make to reach the audience that you want in the most cost-efficient manner. So look for us on October 4th. And we really had fun, spending some time with you today. So thank you.
Hope to see you again. Bye-bye.